Visual Studio 2015 allows using Clang 3.7 compiler. Let's see if the performance changes in any way. To measure execution times, I'm going to use the execution timer from one of our previous episodes. Okay, let's first start with something basic. Let's say a sorting algorithm. Let's make a vector of int, a large vector, and let's sort it using a lambda. Okay, we've compiled this little test with the default Visual Studio compiler. Let's see if it works. It works 147 milliseconds. Okay, I'm going to make 5 runs of this test and we'll see the average runtime. So now we have our Visual Studio results. Let's see how Clang performs. To switch to Clang, you need to go into the project properties and select Clang as the platform toolset. Now just recompile and run. And we have our first result. Again, I'm going to make 5 runs and see the average result. Okay, after 5 runs our results are in and you can really see the difference, which is quite unexpected. I thought the difference would be pretty slim or rather none even. But as we can see, we have about 16% worse performance by Clang, which is really surprising. The code generation is really the same as with the Visual Studio default compiler. Clang is just a frontend, but still, the runtime performance is worse somehow. Okay, now let's switch to something less cache-friendly. Like an unordered map, from a string into something. We're going to insert a lot of elements. And see how it performs. Again, first let's use Visual Studio toolset. I might have overdone a bit here. Let's run this. We have our results. As you can see, the results are a little better. Clang performed about 2% worse in each and every case, but 2% is really low. I don't think it's something you should worry about. Again, let's switch to something even less cache-friendly. A tree. Let's switch the unordered map into a simple map. Let's compile and see how tree manipulations work. And the results are in. Once again, Clang performed worse, about 6% worse in this particular case. Why? It's hard to tell. But you can see it's pretty consistent in every case. Each and every time Clang performs worse. With those trivial cases out of the way, let's make something a bit more complex. I'm going to use the Mandelbrot fractal generator from the Computer Language Benchmarks game. As you can see, the code is a little more complex than simple maps or vectors, and also we have our OpenMP instructions for possible parallel execution. With all this code in here, let's get our results. And now we can see both compilers performed pretty similar. Clang is about 1% worse, but 1% is pretty much no difference at all. But still, in each case, Clang performed somewhat worse. 1%, 2%, 6%, and even 16% for a trivial sorting case. If you want to use Clang and have somewhat better standards conformance than the default Visual Studio compiler, you should keep in mind that in some cases, maybe in all cases even, your runtime performance will be worse. How much worse? Well, that depends on your code, but you can assume it will be worse by somewhat in the terms of few percent. I hope you liked this little test. If you found this interesting, please subscribe, click the like button, and see you in more videos.